In Richmond Hill, you'll find Fort McAllister, a serene state park right on the Ogeechee River that is dripping with history everywhere you look. If you didn't know the history of Fort McAllister, you probably wouldn't be able to guess the stories told on this land. Today, the more than 1,700-acre park sits quietly with features such as a playground, picnic area, campgrounds, and a boat ramp to help those onto the Ogeechee River. But more than 150 years ago, the scenes here were much different.
It's a sacred battlefield, and it's the last battle that was fought in Georgia in the American Civil War.
A Confederate stronghold, Fort McAllister stood as the last obstacle between General Sherman's forces and Savannah. The fort withstood 7 attacks from the water by Union ironclads, but late in 1864, it finally fell.
About 5 o'clock on December 13th, they surrounded the entirety of the fort, and then they penetrated it from all sides. So kind of just created chaos on the inside. And the final battle was over in about 15 minutes.
While General Sherman moved on to Savannah, the stories of Fort McAllister remain in place. Today, they are told, felt, and touched at the state park.
You can look at history and examine it and kind of get in touch with some of those events from our past that we may have gotten out of touch with a little bit. You can see the battle scars, you know, still on some of the interior spaces. There's still battle scars that are visible.
Fort McAllister Interpretive Ranger Autumn Pinot gave me a tour of those earthworks that still stand. She says not only is this part of the park popular with history buffs, but also kids who can interact with the site.
And it's fun for kids because there's bunkers and different things that they can crawl into, and kids really like to go into the central bomb-proof areas and that stuff.
She takes me into what was the old infirmary.
If you can imagine being sick and being stuck in here, you know, with malaria.
To see the incredible views of the Ogeechee River, to Columbiad, a replica of one of the massive cannon used to defend Fort McAllister from threats on the water.
It's such a powerful recoil on it that it would literally shake the earthworks apart, so they had to relocate it outside of the fort to the back side of the fort over there.
And even if Civil War history isn't your thing, Autumn encourages folks from nearby to stop by and take in the park. She says you may even learn something about your family.
Some of the first troops that were stationed here were originally from Savannah. So it was the Chatham Artillery, which the company was specifically called the Republican Blues. So there were local folks that were stationed here for a good bit of time. And so a lot of the local families, you know, you never know. You may have somebody, an ancestor that may have served time here. So it could be a very personal connection too.
Today, only the evidence and stories of the events from Fort McAllister's place in history remain, and what is left sits calmly in stark contrast to the fort's final minutes. Autumn feels that contrast is part of what makes Fort McAllister so unique.
It's just smoke and flame and fire, and he literally describes it as chaos. Yeah, flaming chaos. And then today it's just great. It's peaceful, you know.